Chosen one, the longest battle you ever endured was never supposed to break you. It was training you for a power that most people will never understand. And the fact that you survived it, the fact that you are hearing these words right now, confirms that the training has reached its final stage. You were never just suffering. You were being forged. Every tear you cried had a purpose that the universe kept hidden from you. Every sleepless night, every betrayal, every moment when you thought you could not possibly continue, those were not accidents. Those were lessons, deliberate, calculated, impossibly precise lessons designed by something far older and far more intelligent than anything your conscious mind could recognize. And now, for the first time, you are ready to see what it all actually was. The struggle you thought would destroy you was a masterclass. The pain you thought was random chaos was structured curriculum. The isolation you endured was not abandonment. It was enrollment in a training program so sacred, so ancient, that only a specific kind of soul could even survive the entrance requirements. You survived. You are still here. And that survival is not luck. That survival is graduation. If this is resonating with something deep inside you, type 777 in the comments right now. That number is not random. It is a frequency. It is a signal. And when you type it, you are declaring to the universe that you recognize what has been happening. Subscribe to this channel and hit the like button, because what I am about to reveal will change how you see every painful moment you ever experienced. Now listen very carefully. The ancient Greeks told stories of heroes who were thrown into impossible circumstances. Hercules was not born with his strength. He earned it through 12 labors that would have destroyed any ordinary man. Perseus was not handed his victory. He was sent into darkness, into danger, into situations that seemed designed to kill him. And in every single case, the trials themselves were the gift. The suffering itself was the forge. But here is what those myths never told you. Those stories were not just about them. Those stories were echoes of a pattern that repeats across time. And that pattern has now reached you. The trials of Hercules were legendary. Your trials were hidden. His suffering was recorded in temples and scrolls. Your suffering happened in silence, in private, in moments when no one was watching and no one seemed to care. But the invisibility of your training does not diminish it. The invisibility was the point. You were being prepared in secret because what you carry is too significant to be revealed before its time. Think about what you endured. Think about the moments that almost broke you completely. Think about the relationships that shattered, the opportunities that vanished, the health that failed, the trust that was betrayed, the loneliness that seemed endless, the confusion that clouded everything. Now ask yourself one question. Why did you survive all of it? Not how. Why? Because the how is easy. You survived through stubbornness, through small decisions, through waking up one more day even when you did not want to. The how is mechanics, but the why is destiny. You survived because you were supposed to. You survived because something needed you to. You survived because the training was not complete until you emerged from the other side, carrying knowledge that cannot be taught, only earned. Carrying strength that cannot be given, only forged. Carrying a frequency that cannot be borrowed, only awakened through the exact sequence of pressures that you and only you have experienced. The Egyptians understood this. They built temples where initiates would be placed in complete darkness for days. They would be deprived of food. They would face their deepest fears. They would be brought to the edge of psychological collapse. And the priests who administered these trials were not cruel. They were architects of awakening. They knew that the human soul carries dormant capacities that only activate under extreme conditions. They knew that the phoenix must burn before it can rise. What they did in controlled chambers, life has done to you in the open world. Your darkness was your initiation. Your collapse was your chrysalis. Your breaking point was your breakthrough disguised as a disaster. And the reason you could not see it at the time is because you were not supposed to. A student does not understand the full curriculum while sitting in the middle of the hardest exam. The understanding comes later. The understanding comes now. You thought you were being punished. You were being selected. You thought you were being abandoned. You were being isolated for protection. You thought you were being destroyed. You were being reconstructed into something that the old version of you could never have become. The pain was not the enemy. The pain was the sculptor. And the sculpture it was creating was you. There are forces in this universe that have been watching human beings for longer than recorded history. Call them angels. Call them ancestors. Call them cosmic intelligences. Call them whatever name your tradition uses. But they exist. And they do not watch everyone. They watch specific souls. Souls that carry certain markers. Souls that vibrate at frequencies that indicate readiness for extraordinary assignments. When those forces identify such a soul, they do not coddle it. They test it. They stretch it. They place it in circumstances that would crush anyone who was not genuinely carrying what they suspected. And the testing is not punishment. The testing is confirmation. Every time you refused to give up, you passed a test. Every time you chose integrity when betrayal would have been easier, you passed a test. Every time you kept your heart open, even after it had been shattered, you passed a test. Every time you found hope in hopeless situations, you passed a test. And those forces were recording every result. They watched you lose everything and still refuse to become bitter. They watched you be misunderstood by everyone around you and still remain authentic. They watched you cry alone in the dark and still wake up the next morning ready to try again. They watched you carry burdens that would have justified giving up, and you did not give up. That data is not forgotten. That data is your resume. That data is the proof that you are ready for what comes next. The prophets of the Old Testament were not chosen because their lives were easy. Moses was in exile for 40 years before he heard the voice in the burning bush. Joseph was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned on false accusations before he rose to save nations. David was anointed as king and then spent years running for his life, hiding in caves, waiting for a promise that seemed impossible to ever be fulfilled. The waiting was not a delay. The waiting was construction. And you have been waiting. You have been enduring. You have been wondering why the promise has not arrived yet, why the breakthrough seems perpetually out of reach, why you keep preparing for something that never seems to begin. This is your answer. The preparation was not separate from the mission. The preparation was the first phase of the mission, and that phase is now complete. What was being built in you during those years of struggle? Let me tell you, discernment was being built. You can now see through lies faster than most people can even recognize that they are being lied to. You can feel the energy in a room and know immediately who is trustworthy and who is not. You can sense manipulation before the first word of manipulation is even spoken. This did not come from a book. This came from being manipulated, from being deceived, from having to learn, through pain, what deception actually feels like. That knowledge is now permanently encoded in your nervous system. Resilience was being built. Not the shallow kind of resilience that collapses under real pressure. The deep kind. The kind that has already faced the worst and survived. The kind that cannot be intimidated because it has already walked through fire and emerged carrying the ashes as evidence. You are not someone who hopes they can handle difficulty. You are someone who already knows they can. That certainty is not arrogance. That certainty is earned. Compassion was being built. Real compassion. Not the performative sympathy of people who have never suffered. The visceral understanding of pain that allows you to sit with someone in their darkest moment without flinching, without rushing to fix, without making their pain about yourself. You can hold space for brokenness because you have been broken. You can offer presence without judgment because you know what it feels like to be judged in your most vulnerable state. This capacity is rare. It is needed. And it was forged in you through every wound you ever received. Patience was being built. The ability to wait without losing faith. The ability to hold a vision for years without seeing external confirmation. The ability to keep moving in a direction when every visible indicator suggests you should turn around. This is not natural. This is supernatural. And it only develops through being forced to wait longer than you ever thought you could. Authority was being built. Not the loud, desperate kind of authority that needs to announce itself. The quiet kind. The kind that enters a room and shifts the atmosphere without saying a word. The kind that speaks and people instinctively listen. Not because you demanded attention, but because you carry weight that cannot be faked. This authority does not come from titles or positions. It comes from having walked through fire and refused to be consumed. People can feel that on you, even if they cannot name it. All of this was being built. All of this was the curriculum. All of this was hidden in what looked like meaningless suffering. And now that the building is complete, the deployment can begin. The Mayans tracked cycles of time so vast that modern civilization is still struggling to understand them. They believed that history moves in ages, and that each age produces a specific kind of consciousness. The age that is now ending was an age of external power, empires, institutions, hierarchies that controlled through force and manipulation. The age that is now beginning is an age of internal power, sovereignty. Truth that cannot be corrupted because it lives inside beings who have earned the right to carry it. You are one of those beings. You were not trained for the old world. You were trained for the new one. And the reason the old world treated you so harshly is because you were never meant to fit into it. You were meant to help end it. You were meant to carry a frequency that disrupts the old patterns and anchors the new ones. This is why your struggle was so intense. You were not just being prepared for personal success. You were being prepared for civilizational contribution. The powers that benefit from the old world could sense what you carry. They could feel that you were different, and they tried to crush you before you understood your own significance. Every attack you endured, every sabotage, every seemingly random disaster that arrived at the worst possible moment, those were not coincidences. Those were attempts to interrupt the training before graduation. They failed. You are still here. You are still intact. You are still carrying everything they tried to destroy. And now you know what it is. The book of James says that trials produce perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. But that scripture is usually taught as a passive comfort, something to help you endure. What it actually is a blueprint for the manufacturing of power. Trials are not obstacles to power. Trials are the factory where power is built. You were placed on the assembly line. You were moved through station after station. Heat was applied, pressure was applied, time was applied. And with each station, something was added to you that was not there before. The person who entered the trial and the person who emerged from the trial are not the same. The one who entered was raw material. The one who emerged is refined product. And that product is now ready for deployment in ways that will shock even you. Think about the specific struggles you faced. Think about how precisely targeted they were to your weaknesses. Think about how they seemed designed to attack the exact areas where you were most vulnerable. This precision was not cruelty. This precision was customization. A generic trial would have produced generic results. Your trials were specific because your assignment is specific. Whatever you lost during those years created space for what you are about to receive. Whatever was taken from you was only removed because it would have interfered with what is coming. The relationships that ended, the opportunities that closed, the versions of yourself that died, all of that clearing was preparation for an upgrade that required an empty container. You are that container now, and you are ready to be filled. The Hindu tradition speaks of tapas, sacred heat, the friction that purifies. They understood that spiritual advancement is not achieved through comfort. It is achieved through the deliberate application of difficulty. Monks would subject themselves to extreme conditions specifically to activate capacities that only awakened under pressure. What they did voluntarily, life did to you involuntarily. But the result is the same. You have been heated. You have been compressed. You have been purified. And what remains is no longer ordinary carbon. What remains is diamond. This is not poetry. This is description. The hardness you now carry is not bitterness. It is crystallized wisdom. The clarity you now possess is not detachment. It is refined perception. The calm you now embody in crisis is not numbness. It is the peace that only comes after the storm has already done its worst and you are still standing. People will look at you and wonder why you remain steady when everything around you is chaos. They will ask what your secret is. They will want to know what practice, what technique, what teaching gave you this. And you will not be able to explain it because it was not a teaching. It was a forging. And forging cannot be transmitted through words. It can only be transmitted through fire. The fire already touched you. The work is already done. What happens now is expression of what was built. There is a phenomenon in metallurgy called annealing. When metal is heated to extreme temperatures and then cooled slowly, its molecular structure actually reorganizes. The atoms arrange themselves into more stable, stronger patterns. The metal becomes simultaneously harder and more flexible. It becomes capable of holding sharper edges while being less likely to shatter under impact. This is what happened to you. Your molecular structure reorganized under heat. You are not who you were before. You are a restructured version, a version that can hold more, carry more, channel more, express more, impact more. And the reorganization is complete. I need you to understand something. The universe does not waste resources. Every ounce of energy that was invested in your training will be recovered through your contribution. Every tear you cried will water something. Every scream you silenced will become a voice for someone who cannot speak. Every sleepless night will fuel a vision that requires wakefulness when others are sleeping. Nothing was lost. Everything was invested. And the return on that investment is about to become visible in ways that will make the cost seem almost reasonable. Almost. The cost was high. I will not diminish that. What you paid to get here, what you sacrificed, what you endured, that was real. That pain was real. Those tears were real. The loneliness was real. The betrayal was real. The confusion was real. And no spiritual insight erases the weight of having lived through it. But the meaning transforms it. When you understand why it happened, when you see how it prepared you, when you recognize that you could not be who you are now without having walked through exactly what you walked through, the suffering does not disappear, but it reorganizes. It takes its place in a pattern. It becomes part of a story that is actually going somewhere. And that changes everything. The pyramids of Giza were not built quickly. They took decades, generations. And during the construction, the workers could not see what they were building. They could only see the stones in front of them, the labor, the difficulty, the endless repetition. But the architects could see the completed structure. The architects knew that every stone placed, no matter how tedious the placement, was essential to the final form. You were both the stone and the architect. Part of you was lost in the labor, unable to see the purpose. But another part of you, deeper, older, knew exactly what was being built. That deeper part kept you moving when your conscious mind wanted to stop. That deeper part whispered just a little further when your body was screaming no more. That deeper part was the architect, and the structure is now visible. You can see it now. You can see what all of it was building. And what you see is not a victim of circumstance. What you see is a masterpiece of deliberate construction. The book of Romans says that all things work together for good, for those who are called according to a purpose. All things, not some things, not the pleasant things, not the easy things, all things, including the worst things, including the most painful things, including the things that seem to serve no purpose whatsoever. They all worked together. They all contributed. They all played their role in producing the exact configuration of strength, wisdom, and capacity that your assignment requires. You were called according to a purpose. The purpose is now activating. And the struggle was never the opposite of the purpose. The struggle was the beginning of the purpose. What you are about to step into will require everything that was built in you. The discernment will be needed immediately. The resilience will be tested again, but this time with full awareness of what is happening. The compassion will be the tool through which you reach people who cannot be reached through logic. The patience will sustain you through delays that would break anyone who had not already learned to wait. The authority will open doors that remain closed to those who have not earned the right to walk through them. You did not know you were being prepared for something this significant. How could you? The preparation looked like destruction. The construction looked like collapse. The advancement looked like regression. Everything was disguised. And the disguise served a purpose too. It kept you humble. It prevented premature revelation. It ensured that the power building in you remained hidden until the moment of deployment. That moment is now, not next year, not after one more lesson, not after you figure out a few more things. Now. The forces that watched your training have submitted their report. The evaluation is complete. The conclusion is unanimous. You are ready. Not because you feel ready. Not because you think you are ready. Because the evidence of your trials proves that you are ready. There are people waiting for you who do not know they are waiting. There are doors about to open that do not look like doors yet. There are assignments already written with your name on them that have not yet been revealed. And the struggle you endured was specifically designed to qualify you for exactly those people, those doors, those assignments. Nothing was random. Nothing was accidental. Nothing was meaningless. The longest struggle of your life was the highest education of your life. The darkest chapter was the deepest training. The most painful years were the most productive years. And the graduation ceremony is not some event in the future. The graduation ceremony is the recognition happening inside you right now. You are recognizing what happened. You are seeing the pattern. You are understanding the purpose. And that understanding is itself the final piece. The training could not complete until you understood that it was training. And now you understand. So what happens now? Now you walk differently. Not because you are pretending to be confident, but because you are no longer confused about your own journey. Now you speak differently. Not because you are performing authority, but because you have earned the right to speak and you know it. Now you receive differently. Not because you are being greedy, but because you understand that what is coming to you was always meant for you and refusing it would be false humility. Now you begin. The struggle is not ending. The nature of the struggle is transforming. You will still face challenges. You will still encounter opposition. You will still walk through difficulty, but you will never again walk through it confused. You will never again wonder why it is happening. You will recognize every trial as another lesson in the ongoing curriculum, and you will pass through each one faster because you now understand the system. The universe was not punishing you. The universe was investing in you. The investment has matured. The returns are now due. And you are about to receive more in the next season than you lost in all the previous seasons combined. Not because you deserve reward for suffering, but because you have been equipped through suffering to handle what is coming. And the universe does not deliver to those who cannot handle delivery. You can handle it now. You could not handle it before. That is why it did not come before. The timing was not cruel. The timing was precise. Everything that is arriving exactly when you are ready to receive it. Not a moment too early, not a moment too late. Exactly when you are ready. And you are ready now. The mystery that began when you first started asking why is answering itself. The questions that kept you awake at night are revealing their purpose. The suffering that seemed endless was always temporary. The training that seemed permanent was always moving toward completion. The completion is here. You were never being destroyed. You were being constructed. You were never being abandoned. You were being isolated for concentration. You were never being forgotten. You were being hidden until the revelation could safely occur. The revelation is occurring now, in this moment, in your recognition of what I am saying. The struggle was the masterclass. The pain was the professor. The darkness was the classroom. And you graduated at the top of a class that most people never survive long enough to join. The timeline has reached its appointed figure. The training wheels have been removed. The waiting is finally over. And the one who was being prepared through all of it was always you. If this unlocked something inside you, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Share this with someone who is still in their struggle and does not yet understand what is being built in them. What you just received, someone else needs to receive. And the fact that you are here, the fact that you heard this, the fact that you felt it resonate, that is not a coincidence either. That is the final confirmation that your masterclass is complete. The signs have spoken. The forging is finished. The power is now yours. And you were always the one it was building.